The smell of her perfume, that is what I remember most. Jasmine and something sweet like vanilla. I remember her hand stroking my hair, her voice soft and warm. I was 5 years old, standing on Mrs. Patterson's porch on a hot summer day in Ohio. My mother looked at me, but not quite into my eyes. She was holding a small suitcase. "Mommy will be back in an hour, baby. Be good for Mrs. Patterson." That was 20 years ago. She never came back. Until last Tuesday when my phone rang. What would you do if the person who abandoned you suddenly wanted back into your life? Before I share my story, let me know where you are watching from in the comments below. If this story touches your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe to join our community. Now let me take you back to where it all began. That summer day in 2003 started like any other. The sun was blazing over our small neighborhood in suburban Ohio, the kind of heat that made the air shimmer above the asphalt. I was playing with my toy trucks in the front yard, making engine noises and crashing them into each other. I did not have many toys, but those trucks were my treasures. My mother Griselda appeared at the front door wearing a yellow floral dress. I remember thinking she looked like a sunflower. Her dark hair was pulled back, and she had put on makeup, which was unusual for a regular Tuesday. She walked toward me with purpose, her heels clicking against the concrete pathway. "Come on, baby," she said, reaching for my hand. "We are going to visit Mrs. Patterson for a little while." I did not think anything of it. Dorothy Patterson was our neighbor, a kind woman in her mid-50s who always had fresh-baked cookies and a fat orange cat named Marmalade. I loved going to her house. What I did not notice then, but would replay in my mind thousands of times later, was that my mother was carrying a small suitcase in her other hand. She also had a paper bag that she said contained some of my clothes, just in case you get dirty playing. Mrs. Patterson opened her door with a warm smile, but I saw something flicker in her eyes when she looked at my mother. Something like concern, or maybe recognition of a truth I was too young to understand. "Griselda, honey, is everything all right?" Mrs. Patterson asked, wiping her hands on her apron. My mother laughed, but it sounded wrong. Too high, too quick. "Oh, everything is fine, Dorothy. I just need to meet a friend for about an hour. You do not mind watching Marcus, do you?" "Of course not." Mrs. Patterson put her hand on my shoulder. "Marcus and I always have a good time, don't we?" I nodded eagerly, already thinking about cookies and marmalade. My mother knelt down to my level. She smelled like jasmine. She kissed my forehead, and her lips trembled just slightly against my skin. "Be good, baby. Mommy loves you." I waved at her as she walked down the porch steps. She did not look back. I watched her yellow dress disappear around the corner, and then I went inside to play with the cat. The first few hours passed quickly. Mrs. Patterson gave me cookies and milk. I watched cartoons on her old television set. Marmalade let me pet his belly, which Mrs. Patterson said was rare. I was happy. But then the afternoon light started to turn golden, then orange, then pink. I began to feel a strange tightness in my chest. "Mrs. Patterson, when is Mommy coming back?" She looked at the clock on the wall. "Soon, sweetheart. I am sure she will be here soon." She picked up the phone and dialed. I watched her face as she listened to it ring and ring. No one answered. She tried again. Same result. Her husband Harold came home from work around 6. I remember them whispering in the kitchen while I sat on the couch hugging a throw pillow that smelled like lavender, not jasmine. I caught fragments of their conversation, words I did not understand then. Abandoned. Social services. That poor child. When night came, Mrs. Patterson made up the couch for me with soft blankets and a pillow. She said it would be like a fun sleepover. But when she turned off the lights, I lay there in the darkness of a stranger's living room, wondering why my mother's hour had turned into forever. The next day, police officers came to the house. They asked me questions I could not answer. "Did your mommy say where she was going? Did she seem sad? Did anyone come to visit her lately?" I just shook my head, confused and scared. A week passed. Every afternoon, I would sit by the front window of the Patterson house, watching cars drive by, waiting for a yellow dress to appear around the corner. It never did. Mrs. Patterson found something in the bag of clothes my mother had left. A small piece of paper folded twice, tucked into the pocket of my jeans. She did not show it to me until years later, but I eventually learned what it said. "I am sorry. I cannot do this anymore. Please take care of him. He deserves better than me. My mother had planned her escape. The clothes, the suitcase, the note. It was not a spontaneous decision. She had looked at her 5-year-old son, made her choice, and walked away. By the end of that first month, social workers had come and gone. Paperwork had been filed. The Pattersons officially became my temporary foster family. I stopped sitting by the window. But every night before I fell asleep, I would whisper into the darkness, "Mommy, please come back." She never answered. The Pattersons formally adopted me when I was 6 years old. I remember the day we went to the courthouse. Mrs. Patterson Dorothy wore her nicest dress. Mr. Patterson Harold put on a tie for the first time since I had known him. Their daughter Naomi, who was 14 at the time, stood beside me holding my hand. Naomi had not been happy about my arrival at first. She was used to being the only child the center of her parents' attention. For those first few months, she mostly ignored me or shot me annoyed looks when her mother fussed over me. But something shifted after the adoption was finalized. Maybe it was seeing me become her legal brother. Maybe it was just her good heart winning out over teenage selfishness. Whatever the reason, Naomi became my protector. When kids at school found out I was adopted, some of them were cruel in the way only children can be. "Your real mom did not want you," a boy named Tyler said to me on the playground when I was 8. "She threw you away like garbage." I punched him in the nose. It was the first time I had ever hit anyone. The teachers pulled us apart, and I got sent to the principal's office. When Dorothy came to pick me up, I expected her to be angry. Instead, she knelt down, looked me in the eyes, and said, "Being angry is okay, Marcus, but do not let it control you. Do not let what other people say about your past define who you become." That was the first time I thought of Dorothy as something more than just the nice lady who was taking care of me. She was becoming my mother. Every Mother's Day at school, we had to make cards. I made 2 every year. One for Dorothy, which I gave to her with a hug, and one for Griselda, which I never sent. I kept them in a shoebox under my bed, each card a little prayer to a woman who had vanished like smoke. When I turned 11, something changed. I started asking questions. Who was my real father? Where did Griselda go? Why did she leave? Dorothy and Harold answered what they could, but there was so much they did not know, so I started searching on my own. I would stay late at the school library using the computers to search for my mother's name. At 13, I finally found something. A social media profile with her picture. She was older, her hair shorter, but it was definitely her. My heart pounded as I scrolled through her photos. She was living in California now. She had gotten remarried to a man with a big smile and a nice car. And she had a son, a boy who looked about 5 years old in the photos, the same age I had been when she left me on a stranger's porch. I stared at that screen for what felt like hours. She had not just abandoned me. She had replaced me. She had built a whole new family, a whole new life, as if I had never existed. Something broke inside me that day. I started acting out. My grades dropped. I talked back to Dorothy and Harold. I skipped school and hung out with older kids who smoked cigarettes behind the gas station. I was angry at the world, but mostly I was angry at myself for still caring about a woman who clearly did not care about me. Then Harold had a heart attack. It happened on a Thursday evening. One moment he was watching television, the next he was clutching his chest and falling to the floor. The ambulance came. Dorothy rode with him to the hospital. Naomi and I followed in her car, both of us silent and terrified. Harold survived that first heart attack, but his health was never the same. He had to retire early. He moved slowly, tired easily, and could not do the things he used to love, like working in his garden or playing catch with me in the backyard. I watched him decline over the next year, and guilt ate me alive. All those times I had yelled at him, slammed doors, stayed out late, making him worry. I had stolen his peace in his final good years. And for what? Because I was angry at a woman 1,000 miles away who did not even know or care that I existed. Harold passed away quietly in his sleep when I was 14. At his funeral, I cried harder than I had ever cried in my life. But I was not just mourning Harold. I was mourning the father I had been too stupid and angry to appreciate while he was alive. I was mourning the childhood I had wasted on bitterness. After the funeral, I made a promise to myself and to Harold's memory. I would do better. I would be better. High school became my redemption. I studied hard, brought my grades up, joined the track team. I made a real friend, a kid named Derek, who lived 2 streets over, and shared my love of comic books and bad action movies. Derek was the only person outside the family I ever told about Griselda. One night during a sleepover at his house, he asked me, "If your birth mom showed up tomorrow, would you forgive her?" I lay there in the darkness, staring at his ceiling covered in glow in the dark stars, and I could not answer. I honestly did not know. Senior year arrived, and with it came college applications, scholarship essays, and the terrifying excitement of the future. Against all odds, I got a full scholarship to Ohio State for engineering. When the acceptance letter came, Dorothy cried. Naomi drove down from Columbus, where she was living with her husband, just to celebrate with us. At my high school graduation, I walked across that stage to receive my diploma, and for just 1 second, I let myself look out at the crowd. Some stupid, hopeful part of me scanned the faces looking for a yellow floral dress, looking for jasmine perfume and dark hair pulled back. Of course, she was not there. But Dorothy was. She was in the front row clapping so hard her hands must have hurt tears streaming down her face. After the ceremony, she hugged me tight and whispered, "I am so proud of you, son. Son." The word hit me like a wave. I realized then that I had spent years mourning the mother who left, when all along the mother I needed was right there holding me up every single day. Fast forward 7 years. I was 25 living in Columbus, working as a structural engineer for a construction firm. Life was good. Better than good, actually. I had my own apartment, a job I loved, and a girlfriend named Leanne, who made me laugh harder than anyone I had ever met. Leanne and I had been dating for 2 years. She knew about my past, about Griselda, about all of it. She never pushed me to talk about it, but she was always there when I needed to. I had been carrying her grandmother's ring in my sock drawer for 3 months, waiting for the perfect moment to propose. I talked to Dorothy every Sunday evening without fail. She was 75 now, still living in the same house, still baking cookies, though she had to use a walker to get around. Naomi had given her 2 grandchildren, and I was the proud uncle who spoiled them with toys and ice cream whenever I visited. I thought I had made peace with my past. I thought the wound had scarred over, that I could live the rest of my life without ever thinking about Griselda again. Then came the phone call. It was a Tuesday evening. I was in my kitchen making spaghetti and listening to a podcast when my phone buzzed on the counter. The caller ID showed a number from California. I almost did not answer. I figured it was a telemarketer or a wrong number, but something made me pick up. "Hello." Silence. Then a shaky breath. Then a voice I had not heard in 20 years but somehow recognized instantly. "Marcus, this is your mother. This is Griselda." The pot of water boiled over on the stove. I did not move to stop it. I could not move at all. My body had turned to stone. "Marcus, are you there?" "I am here." My voice came out flat empty. She started talking fast, her words tumbling over each other. She said she was sick, something serious, though she did not give details. She said she did not have much time left. She said she had been following my life from afar, that she knew I had graduated college, knew about my job, even knew I had a girlfriend. "I am so proud of the man you have become," she said, and something inside me cracked. Proud. She was proud. She had not earned the right to be proud. "I know I do not deserve anything from you," she continued, her voice breaking. "I know what I did was unforgivable, but I am asking anyway. Please, can we meet just once before it is too late?" I could hear her crying on the other end of the line. 20 years of silence. And now she wanted absolution. She wanted to clear her conscience before she died, to wrap up her loose ends so she could go peacefully. I hung up without saying a word. The next few days were torture. I could not sleep. I could not focus at work. I kept hearing her voice in my head, kept seeing that yellow dress walking away. Leanne found me one night sitting on the kitchen floor at 3 in the morning, staring at nothing. "Talk to me," she said, sitting down beside me. So I did. I told her everything. The phone call, the request, the 20 years of wondering why I was not enough. Leanne listened, held my hand, and when I was done, she said, "Whatever you decide, I will be right here. But make sure you decide for yourself, not for her." I called Dorothy the next day. I told her about Griselda's call. There was a long pause on the line. "Only you can decide this, Marcus," she finally said. "But whatever you choose, do it for yourself, not for her." The same words Leanne had used. Maybe that is why I loved them both so much. I drove to Dorothy's house that weekend. I needed to be in that place, the place where my second life had begun. I went up to my old room now, a guest room with floral wallpaper and a quilted bedspread. I reached under the bed and pulled out the shoebox. Inside were all those Mother's Day cards I had made for Griselda and never sent. Faded construction paper, crooked crayon drawings, misspelled words. "Happy Mother's Day. I miss you. Please come home." At the bottom of the box was the note, the one Griselda had left in my jeans pocket 20 years ago. I unfolded it with trembling hands and read those words again. "He deserves better than me." I sat on the floor of that room and cried like the 5-year-old boy I used to be. When the tears stopped, I knew what I had to do. Not for her, for me. I flew to California the following week. I told Griselda I would meet her at a coffee shop, a public place on my terms. I did not want to see her home, did not want to meet her husband, did not want to pretend this was some happy reunion. She was already there when I arrived. I barely recognized her. The woman in my memories was young and beautiful with dark hair and bright eyes. The woman sitting at that table was thin and gray, her face lined with age and illness. She looked fragile, like she might break if you touched her. Beside her sat a teenage boy, maybe 15 or 16, my half-brother, the replacement child. He looked uncomfortable, like he did not want to be there any more than I did. Griselda stood up when she saw me, her eyes filled with tears. "Marcus, oh Marcus, you came." I sat down across from her. I did not hug her. I did not smile. "You wanted to meet," I said. "So talk." She talked. She told me about the depression that had consumed her when I was young, about the poverty, the loneliness, the feeling that she was drowning and dragging me down with her. She told me she had convinced herself that leaving was the best thing she could do for me, that I would have a better life without her. "I was wrong," she said. "I know that now. I was a coward. I ran away because I was scared, and I have regretted it every single day since." I listened. I let her say everything she needed to say, and when she was done, I asked her one question. "Did you ever try to come back?" She looked down at her hands. She did not answer. She did not have to. The silence told me everything. I stood up. Griselda looked up at me, desperate hope in her eyes. "Marcus, please." "I do not hate you," I said. "I spent a lot of years hating you, but I am tired of carrying that weight. So I forgive you, Griselda. I forgive you for leaving. I forgive you for not coming back. I forgive you for building a new family and pretending I did not exist." Her face crumpled with relief. "But," I continued, "I do not need you. I have a mother. Her name is Dorothy Patterson. She is the one who stayed. She is the one who raised me, who loved me, who never walked away. You gave me life, but she taught me how to live it." I looked at the teenage boy, my half-brother, who was staring at me with wide eyes. "I hope you have a good life, kid. I hope she stays for you." Then I turned and walked out of that coffee shop. I did not look back. I did not need to. I was not that little boy on the porch anymore, waiting for a yellow dress to return. I was free. The flight home felt different. The weight I had carried for 20 years, that constant ache in my chest, had lifted. I was not happy exactly. I was not sad either. I just felt empty, like a house after all the furniture has been moved out. Spacious and echoing, Leanne was waiting for me at the airport. She did not ask questions. She just wrapped her arms around me and held on tight. We stood there in the middle of the arrivals terminal, people flowing around us like water around a rock, and I let myself be held. The next few weeks were hard. The emptiness filled up slowly with emotions I had been suppressing for years. Grief for the mother I never really had. Anger at the years I had lost to bitterness. Fear that I was fundamentally unlovable, that everyone I cared about would eventually leave. I started seeing a therapist, something I had resisted for years because it felt like admitting weakness. But sitting in that office, talking through my childhood, learning to name my feelings, I realized that asking for help was not weakness. It was the bravest thing I had ever done. Months passed. Spring turned to summer, turned to fall. I started sleeping through the night again. I laughed more easily. The panic attacks that used to grip me when someone I loved did not answer their phone began to fade. On a crisp October evening, I took Leanne to the restaurant where we had our first date. I got down on one knee and asked her to marry me. She said yes before I even finished the question. When we started planning the wedding, there was never any doubt about who would be the mother of the groom. I drove to Dorothy's house and sat with her in her kitchen, the same kitchen where I had eaten cookies as a scared 5-year-old. Dorothy, I said, you have been my mother in every way that matters. Will you stand beside me at my wedding? She cried. I cried. We held each other for a long time. Naomi became my unofficial wedding planner. She threw herself into the details with the same fierce energy she had used to protect me on playgrounds decades ago. Watching her and Dorothy argue about flower arrangements and seating charts, I felt something I had not felt in a long time. I felt like I belonged. The week before the wedding, I sat down and wrote a letter. Not to Griselda, to myself, to the 5-year-old boy who stood on a porch and watched his mother walk away. Dear Marcus, I wrote, I know you are scared. I know you do not understand why she left. I know you think it is your fault that you were not good enough, that if you had been better, she would have stayed. But I need you to know something. It was never about you. Her leaving was her choice, her weakness, her failure, not yours. You are going to grow up feeling broken, but you are not broken. You are going to find people who love you and stay. You are going to build a life you are proud of. And one day you are going to stand in a church surrounded by the family you chose, and you are going to realize that you made it. You survived. You are okay. The wedding was beautiful. Small, intimate, exactly what we wanted. Leanne was radiant. Naomi gave a toast that made everyone laugh and cry. Dorothy sat in the front row in a lavender dress, clutching a handkerchief, beaming at me like I was the sun. During the reception, I looked around at all these people who loved me. Not because they had to, not because we shared blood, but because they chose to. Because love is not something you are born into. It is something you build day by day through patience and presence, and the simple act of showing up. I thought about Griselda then for just a moment. I wondered if she was still alive, if she ever thought about me, if she ever regretted walking away. But the wondering did not hurt like it used to. It was more like a faded bruised tender if you pressed on it, but easy to forget. I forgave her, not for her sake, but for mine. I refused to spend the rest of my life being defined by her absence. I had wasted too many years already. Here is what I learned. What I wish someone had told that little boy on the porch 20 years ago. Some people are meant to give us life. Others are meant to teach us how to live. Blood does not make someone family. Presence does. Loyalty does. Showing up day after day even when it is hard. If you are out there waiting for someone who left to come back and fix you, I want you to hear this. Stop waiting. The people who truly love you are already there. They have been there all along. Look around. Open your eyes. Let them in. And if you are carrying the weight of abandonment, if you are still that scared child wondering what you did wrong, please know this. It was never your fault. You were always enough. You still are. I am Marcus, and this is my story. It does not end with the mother who left. It ends with the family who stayed. I want to ask you something before you go. Have you ever had to choose between holding on to anger and setting yourself free? How did you find peace? Share your story in the comments below. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. If this story touched your heart, please hit the like button and share it with someone who might need to hear it. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss another story. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for listening. And wherever you are, whoever you are, I hope you know that you are worthy of love. Not someday, not when you prove yourself. Right now, exactly as you are. Take care of yourselves. I will see you in the next one.